A genre is a way to make your series differ or section it from other series and projects that are nothing alike to fit the needs of people's interests and wants. This matters because it can help the audience of your series connect with the tone of the series along with your content. For example, you'd gain an audience of horror lovers if you were to pick a horror genre for your series. A good thing to do is to blend genres such as horror and romance, or mystery and thriller. Having a genre is a good way to grow and develop your story as you have an idea of what you want. It is good to have at least multiple genres chosen. Having multiple genres for your series is good because it allows more freedom for your series, meaning you are open to more possibilities that would help engage your audience. It also helps you to avoid many tropes in your story. Of course, when creating a gacha club series, you need a genre or more to work off of. For example, I'm going to pick mystery and thriller. For a mystery, there has to be some sort of puzzle to solve, while the thriller part works by creating suspense and anticipation. It's two themes working together to create one big thing. Getting inspiration matters because it is important for creativity and motivation, as it can help you spark new ideas and overcome blocks or anything in the way of you creating a series. It also helps you grow ideas and expand your world over time, but I'll get more into that later. There are multiple ways to get inspiration for your series. One way is going onto Pinterest and creating a board. For example, for my series Hitchhike, I'd search for things to do with hitchhikers. And because it is a mystery that takes place in various places around the country, I'd add some eerie landscaping to my board. In the story, there is also a serial killer along with a mystery. So I'd add pictures that have something to do with that. And sometimes you can search up whatever you want that may be related to the story you want to create only in the slightest, but come across a good image that will give you a ton of inspiration to help you expand your story. I'm pretty sure everyone has heard of a story mountain before. But if you haven't, then I'll tell you exactly what it is. A story mountain is what helps you plan key details for your series so you can see and understand them in a simple way. It helps break down a story into parts: beginning, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution. It is represented as a mountain as it expresses how the main character goes to the peak to get what they want, only to come back down after the revolution and resolution, as they may or may not have gotten what they wanted. The point of the beginning in the mountain should start off by introducing the character and the world, and maybe the problem briefly, or at least the situation. The rising action are the events that are leading up to the climax and build up the suspense and the audience's intrigue. The climax is like the big reveal, the turning point of your story. The worst possible part of your problem, and making it hard for the audience to see how one can come out of such a situation. The falling action is of course the aftermath of the climax, as it is the events that follow and lead towards the resolution as the tension dies down and the mystery or problem is fully solved. The resolution is the final outcome of the story, how the entirety of your story has changed your character and/or the world around you. I'd ask yourself, is the main character the same person they used to be? Is this the ending everyone hoped for? Does it matter? To plan your movie, I'd of course do the story mountain. But I'd also have the planning of subplots. Subplots help expand your story and world by adding more likable or dislikable characters that may have some connection to your main plot. It also can introduce new conflicts and influence the main plot, making the story more believable. The subplots have to be memorable. They have to be there for a reason other than to expand your series and make more characters that are likable. They have to tie in with your main plot or maybe even the story/lore. If you want a subplot but you don't know what it could be, some pretty good ideas are that it could be an attempt to enhance character development by revealing more about relationships and motivations over time. It can also help world building, as it creates a more immersive story by showcasing how other people live their lives in the same or similar environment your main character is in. The importance of having a good ending is extremely crucial to your story. It helps to add closure and shapes the audience. To do so perfectly, you have to have a memorable ending. The ending should close up all or most of your loose ends and leave a lasting impression, as it is the last thing somebody remembers about your series. A really good ending is impactful and meaningful, as if making the audience finally understand the meaning behind your story. There is a good ending and a bad ending. And maybe even a bittersweet ending. In the good ending, everybody gets what they want. In the bad ending, the villain or antagonist gets everything they want while the protagonists don't. A bittersweet ending concludes with them getting something they want, but it's not enough, there could always be more, but they're happy that they got somewhere. Possibly opening up to a sequel or just finishing there with the message that you can't always get what you want. And that brings me to the audience itself. Many series all have predictable endings, such as the protagonists getting what they want because that's what the audience wants, right? But a bad ending itself can be powerful, as it can be just as effective. This can explore different emotions of desperation, sadness, and even fear, which helps the audience to connect and really feel your main character's environment. It also creates a sense that reality is harsh, and even though it's just a series, it's realistic, as everything doesn't always turn out how the audience or the characters involved in the story expected. It helps to make the audience think. After all, the story is yours to create completely, not the audience's. If you want a bad ending, go for it. If you want to follow a strange narrative that's completely new to the gacha community or any community, go for it. You should focus on how you want to lead your story, whether you want to lead it down a certain path or a completely opposite one. As if you were just creating your series for an audience and not to express your love or creativity for a story, then you'll lose motivation. Character design is obviously important, as it visualizes a character's role and personality by one simple look. It is important that your character designs fit with your genre. For example, here are some fantasy OCs I have made. You can also create a vast variety of characters and still show their personality through their design if you have a set uniform. Another thing with creating characters are the colors. You want colors that complement each other and match the character. For example, the antagonist has dark colors while the protagonist has light colors. Depending on their personality, they can have either warm or cold colors. I'm no expert on color theory, but when creating a character I make sure the colors are appealing to the eyes, so no neon colors and no color that looks mucky or does not match. I also suggest you find your style when creating characters, as it is how people remember your character. If you have good design and it looks appealing, they'll feel like they should connect with a character.
Most characters in your series should serve a purpose. They should drive the story forward in one way or another. Even if their purpose is small, such as foreshadowing, or if it's big, as if following from their perspective. The characters are what drives your entire story forward, helping to develop your plot. If the characters are not interesting and do not have a specific trait to help push the story forward, people will see them as unnecessary. Same goes for relationships between two characters. Sometimes a little bit of drama can make somebody connect or relate to a specific character. For example, if two characters got into an argument, somebody watching your series may take one character's side, while someone else watching takes the other character's side. Making characters have their own opinions makes the audience agree and be able to connect with them more, making them more likable and memorable. This gives the audience a reason to root for them and invest in the story while maintaining realism and expanding the depth of the story. Characters are put in a story to show us a message. Everybody should be there for a reason. The purpose of world building is to give the story structure and somewhere real to live. Most gacha series I've seen feel like just a gacha series. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I want to watch a gacha series that feels like a movie, like it could be a real thing. To do so, you can add something as simple as background characters, some being repetitive and some not, depending on the environment. For example, in my series Hitchhike, it takes place around an entire country, but during the first few episodes, the main protagonist stays around a town. This means that some characters you see may come back later due to it being a small town where many people know each other. But if it was a fantasy taking place in an entire world, you're going to see a variety of people and creatures. Same goes with locations and backgrounds and the lore of your protagonist's environment. Is it the country's fault the protagonist is in this situation, or maybe a person themselves? I'm no expert on script writing, but I do know it's crucial to make, or at least briefly plan your script before you get any voice actors. It is crucial because if you hire your voice actors before even starting the script and you have no idea what you want your story to be and how you want it to end, you'll end up canceling. Which, as you probably know, happens with a lot of gacha projects, including some of my own in the past, but I've learned from them. Script writing provides structure for your story. The best thing to do is write the ending first. That way you have a brief idea and can begin to guide your characters towards the ending. It's okay to not have a set ending, but I guarantee that you have at least some ideas and options.
Some people struggle when attempting to find voice actors for their gacha series. Some people use Casting Call Club, but I stick to Discord, so that's what I'm going to be talking about. First of all, you need to create a server. The server name should be your series name, and optionally add that it's voice acted by adding VA, so people will know immediately. I usually lay out my servers by explaining what the series is, the rules of the server and the rules of voice acting, a chatting area and then an area to audition for all the characters. There's tutorials on how to make servers, but if you need help I can always make a separate tutorial myself to help explain how to make a voice acting gacha server. In the audition for a character section, you'd put the character's name. You can separate them by gender or put them all together, it's up to you. You would then need to create a character card. This would show the character's appearance along with their tone of voice and their lines. I usually do 3 lines for the auditioners to say, all with different emotions. It's up to you, but when I cast my voice actors for my series Hitchhike, I put them in a separate voice actor and crew server so things don't get messy. To advertise your server, I recommend joining some other voice acting servers. There's some on YouTube with the links in their description. They usually have a self-promotion area to promote your own series and content. There are also a few entire servers dedicated to promoting your work, the most popular one for gacha being Kirameki. Once you find your voice actors, you send them their script and they do their lines and send in it, then you just have to edit the rest. What I often see in gacha club series is that they mostly use gacha backgrounds. There's nothing wrong with this, but when I see that it's a default background, it's going to make the fact that your series is a screenshot gacha club thing noticeable. Of course, this isn't a bad thing. But like I said earlier, it's best to try and be as cinematic as possible, creating something that's so immersive and impressive that the audience completely forgets it's made in gacha club. I recommend using Pinterest to find suitable backgrounds and using green screens to chroma key your characters onto it. Don't be afraid to use different angles as using the same angle, for example a shot of the entire character the whole time, which isn't necessary, it can get boring to watch. One shot can be 2 people taking close up, and then it will cut to being far away as they walk away from one another. And then the next scene is somebody on the left side of the screen doing whatever. Another thing I see when watching gacha series is that they look bland. Yet again, the screenshots are noticeable. I don't know about you, but I want to watch something immersive. Something that'll make me feel like I'm really there and get me invested in the story. A good way to do this is the lighting and music. If you don't overlay lighting and use music, how is your audience going to feel that the atmosphere is tense? If you're making a horror series, the lighting will be dark whenever something scary happens, and the music will be slow and low. If there is no music and just the voice actors talking, I feel like it may get boring. I know you may not think so too, but sometimes we don't even realize the music is even there, and that it's making the scene feel more real and alive. To use lighting, you can just overlay a simple color or even adjust it wherever your adjust button on your editing app may be. And for music, you can use stock music or even show some appreciation to small artists on YouTube. Some songs I used in the series Hitchhike are from Pharrell Wooten, Guy Copeland, or I made them myself, or they are from the YouTube music topic. I also add borders to my episodes because that's what you see when you watch a movie. This is optional, but I feel like it makes more of a series and movie.